Meanwhile, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission says the federal government is monitoring the security situation in the Middle East and will protect Nigerians in affected countries. The commission spokesman Abdul Rahman Balogun said authorities are coordinating with the relevant agencies on possible evacuation plans. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs advised citizens in Iran, Qatar, and the UAE to remain vigilant and avoid sensitive locations. Officials said emergency contacts remain available. The crisis follows weekend strikes by the United States and Israel on Iran and retaliatory attacks across the Gulf states. Drones later struck the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, prompting tighter security. And real quick, to give us an update on the situation on ground, we have an Israeli journalist, Rolene Marks, joining us from Modi'in. Rolene, thank you for joining us.
Some of the intersections as they are happening above us. This is central Israel being targeted by ballistic missiles coming in from Iran. Now, I'm in my safe room. I hope the signal is very clear because it does tend to disrupt it. But once again, thank you for having me, and you are getting me live under fire.
Okay, I was going to mention that we understand the situation right now, that there might be warning signs coming in as well. But just tell us, what's the situation on ground in Israel right now?
Well, we've just had yet another ballistic missile fired towards Israeli civilian centers, which seems to be the modus operandi of Iran, not striking military targets, but aiming specifically for civilian centers. Now, I am in the center of the country, directly between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and all of our cities taking quite a number of these missiles. And as we had yesterday morning, notification of incoming hostile aircraft, which means drone attacks as well. Now, for the most part, Israel is prepared. We knew that this was coming. We've prepared our civil society, our citizenship, as much as we possibly can. And our air defense array, which is a multi-leveled array, I know everybody is very familiar with the Iron Dome defense, but we have all our air defense systems working, our pilots, our Iron Beam, our arrows, our Barak, our Iron Domes, everything is working to keep Israeli civilians safe. Having said that, we have had a few impacts. At least 12 people have been killed since the start of what we are calling Operation Lion's Roar, and the Americans are calling Operation Epic Fury. But we understand the reasons for this military operation, and that is to dismantle Iran, which is the world's largest sponsor of terrorism, everywhere from the Middle East to South America to the African continent. We are doing this to rid the world of tyranny, the nuclear program, the ballistic missiles program, and the systematic slaughter of tens of thousands of their civilians.
Okay. Yesterday we heard the German Chancellor Merz talk about the need for a speedy end to this. Have you heard any talks about dialogue or a ceasefire that could come in the next couple of hours or days, as the case may be?
Well, I definitely wouldn't say in the next couple of hours. Our foreign minister just moments ago addressing CNN saying that, there is no timeline to this. From Israel's part, we don't want a long protracted war, which is why I think you have seen the coalition go in very swiftly, very strongly to decapitate the nukes and the ballistic missiles as swiftly and as quickly as we can. Having said that, Iran is also attacking Gulf states and other countries in the region. And even today we had a ballistic missile fired towards Turkey. So Iran's intention trying to draw the greater region into a war. From our side, we're going to want to get the job done as swiftly and as economically as we can. We've also heard from our allies in the region, Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates, what they are enduring. Also civilian infrastructure targeted. The Qatari foreign ministry a short while ago putting out a very, very harsh statement against what was their very strong ally, Iran, saying that it is not a policy of good neighborliness to attack Qatar. Qatar striking targets in Iran as well. So there is a concerted effort, not just by Israel and the USA, but by other countries as well, to neutralize Iran as quickly as possible. So hopefully we see an end to this as expediently as we can.
But let's look at the other side of this thing. We are seeing effects of this escalating conflict as we see it right now. $500 billion in oil trade from the Hormuz channels being affected, and the fear of children and women being victims, as the case may be. I mean, how do we ensure that these things are, as much as possible, reduced, this impact? How do you think they can be reduced?
Of course, we have the economic impacts that war always has. And I know that the United States, CENTCOM, that Central Command, have said that they are striking the Iranian Navy, and that is because of the threat that they pose to shipping channels in order to get that oil out. So the United States doing everything they can to neutralize Iran's threats with the Strait of Hormuz and other shipping lanes so that we can get the economy going as quickly as possible. But it's very, very important that we speak about civilian targets. Civilians are primarily targeted by Iran, not just in their own country. We've seen those horrific scenes, tens of thousands of Iranians slaughtered by the Iranian regime for daring to stand up to them. And it certainly has been extremely moving to hear from Iranians thanking us for what they are calling a rescue mission, getting rid of the Ayatollah and the regime. Here in Israel, we've had women and children killed by the Iranian bombs. Just the other day in the city of Beit Shemesh, in one of the oldest synagogues was hit, and 9 people killed there. A man of 102 died as a result of injuries. He hit his head as a result of injuries running to the shelter here. We've had a significant amount of people hospitalized as a result of damage and done to property and as a result of shrapnel from these rockets. So from Israel's side, we've certainly seen civilians greatly impacted, and in the regional areas as well. Although,
Roland, but you do remember, if I may come in, Roland, you do remember the incident of about 150 children that were killed, and school children that were killed in Iran because of this drone strikes.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because the media rushed to quickly judge and blame the coalition forces for that. But the reality is, we don't know. Iranians on the ground have pointed to the IRGC because that school was attached to an IRGC compound. That's the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Some of the eyewitnesses on the ground say that what they have seen, and we've certainly got the images to back it up, is that something was fired that went upwards and then back down. So the jury is still out on who was responsible, but many eyewitnesses on the ground saying, no, the attack didn't come from the sky. It came from a misfired rocket or drone from within the compound. And if that's the case, this is another example of Iran using their civilian population as human shields. We did have the IRGC command holding a press conference from within a school just yesterday. And we've certainly seen this playbook across the region. We've seen it with Hamas in Gaza using their civilians as human shields, and Hamas are a proxy of the Iranians. So they have been trained by the Iranians. So it would not surprise anyone if this was a despicable, exploitive ploy by Iran in order that their civilians are targeted.
Thank you so much, Rolene. Thank you for coming in this evening, and we do wish you well. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
All right.